Hello, and this week on Tree Law, we are talking about land ownership. So, finding out who owns a piece of land. Why might that be an issue? Well, if you have got a piece of land near to your property, there may perhaps be a damaged tree or diseased tree on that land, and it could be precarious and likely to fall and putting your property at risk. And you wonder if you can contact the owner of the land to ask them to take action to secure the tree, for example. Good starting point when trying to find out who owns a piece of land is to contact HM Land Registry. So you can do that easily online. You can carry out searches against property descriptions, property addresses, and also references if you know the land registry number. Often it is a snippet of land, so it will have no address, in which case you are able to get a map, draw around the area of land concerned on the map and ask the land registry to do what is called an index map search and to give you information about the property title for that plot of land, from which you can then find out who the owner is. There are generally two types of ownership. Well, there's two types of ownership of land in the UK, so that is freehold land and leasehold land. If you are looking for the ultimate owner with all the rights over the land, then it is the freehold owner that you need to be looking for. Whilst the land registry is a good starting point, that presupposes that the plot of land that you're searching against is actually registered. The compulsory registration only came through in the 1990s. So there is a large, well, I think it's around 20 to 30% of the UK's land is actually unregistered title. So that means that it hasn't been bought or sold since the date for compulsory registration, and so it hasn't been prompted to be registered at the land registry. If you've got unregistered land, then you need to really be getting your thinking cap on and getting into some investigations. A good starting point for those investigations is to carry out a search with the local town council, parish council, city council, go down to the offices and see what documents they hold. Also, if it's a plot of land adjacent to your property, then actually looking at the documents that the land registry hold on your property and going back in time in those documents to see if there's any reference to who the original owner was, because that could perhaps be the same for the neighbouring plot of land. What also happens when you've got somebody who has perhaps taken over a piece of land, this can be done with moving fences or hedges, for example, to encompass a little bit more land in your garden, then you could be dealing with somebody, although they're not the owner of the land, they have acquired similar rights to the owner because they have perhaps been in occupation of that land for a certain amount of time. For example, somebody could have encased an area of land into their garden and they could have been mowing it and looking after it all these years. I think you can deal with them as if they were the owner. What you need to be careful in these situations is there will be an owner for the piece of land. There is no land in the UK that has no owner. So if there is work that needs to be done on an area of land and the owner isn't known, then you need to think carefully before taking steps to enter that land and carry out that work yourself, because it could be deemed a trespass. If work like that is to go ahead, for example, to a tree, which is dangerous, then attaching notices to the tree or in close proximity to the land, asking for the owner to come forward is a good step forward. And an interesting piece, an interesting time to get a picture of the Queen up. If somebody dies without being succeeded by any relatives or hasn't created a will to pass on their estate, then any land will ultimately, if it's got no owner, will revert to the Crown, and that is called bona vacantia. So if in doubt, it could be the Queen as the owner. Anyway, good luck with your investigations and finding out who the owner is.